Okay, cool. We're back, and we're going to go on to the turn wide part, number 6. Okay, it says, when a vehicle goes around a corner, the rear wheels follow a different path than the front wheels. This is called off-tracking or cheating. Figure 6.3 shows how off-tracking causes the path followed by a tractor to be wider than the rig itself. Longer vehicles will off-track more. The rear wheels of the powered unit, truck or tractor, will off-track some, and the rear wheels of the trailer will off-track even more. If there is more than one trailer, the rear wheels of the last trailer will off-track the very most. Steer the front end wide enough around the corner so the rear end does not run over the curb, pedestrians, etc. However, keep the rear of your vehicle close to the curb. This will stop other drivers from passing you on the right. If you cannot complete your turn without entering another traffic lane, turn wide as you can to complete the turn. This is better than swinging wide before starting the turn because it will keep other drivers from passing you on the right. So backing with a trailer, number 7. Backing with a trailer. When backing a car, straight truck, or bus, you turn the top of the steering wheel in the direction you want to go. When backing a trailer, you turn the steering wheel in the opposite direction. Once the trailer starts to turn, you must turn the wheel the other way to follow the trailer. Whenever you back up with a trailer, try to position your vehicle so you can back in a straight line. If you must back on a curved path, back to the driver's side so you can see. Look at your path. Look at your line of travel before you begin. Get out and walk around the vehicle. Check your clearance to the sides and overhead in and near the path of your vehicle. Use mirrors on both sides. Check the outside mirrors on both sides frequently. Get out of the vehicle and re-inspect your path if you are unsure. Another part says back slowly. This will let you make corrections before you get too far off course. Okay, and I'll show you the picture on there. I'll get these scanned up there so you can see them all, okay? Correct drift immediately. As soon as you see the trailer getting off the proper path, correct it by turning the top of the steering wheel in the direction of the drift. Pull forward when backing a trailer. Make pull-ups to reposition your vehicle as needed. Okay, now here's the first test for part 1 of the whole number 6 section, okay? Test your knowledge here. What 2 things are important to prevent rollover? Okay, so it was talking about having the load be low and spread out, okay, and try to keep it from going high or off to the side, stuff like that. So those are the kind of the things that he mentioned. Keep them off the side, keep them low as possible, and spread out. 2 says when you turn suddenly while pulling doubles, which trailer is most likely to turn over? It's always the back one, so it doesn't matter how many, the back one's the most likely to flip over. Number 3 says, why should you not use the trailer handbrake to straighten out a jackknifing trailer? Because it says that it was the brake that caused the problem in the first place, so that's probably why it won't help at all. You need to let go of the brakes so it has a chance to straighten out again. That's what the book was saying earlier. Number 4, what is off-tracking? Off-tracking is when the front wheels are taking a turn, but the back wheels is taking a whole nother path, and so that's why we have to have the front wheels way off over to the side. That's why the back wheels can cut you in there, but not off. You don't do the jug handle, which is you don't get into the left lane before you make the turn. You make it into the oncoming lane as you're making the turn. That way, people can't pass you on the right. So off-tracking is your very back wheels are going to off-track from the front wheels of the tractor. So that's why we gotta take really wide turns. 5 says when you back a trailer, you should position your vehicle so you can back in a curved path to the driver's side. And See, I already read this before, and it sounds like a trick question because it says that you should always try to go straight in, but if you have to take a curved path, then you want the driver's side. True or false? It sounds like a trick question because either way you could get it right or wrong. So the book definition says try to make it straight, but if you do have to go in a curved path, then driver's side, then that would be a yes. It says when you back a trailer, you should position your vehicle so you can back in a curved path to the driver's side. I'd probably just say true because it says when it comes to a curved path, you do want to be able to see what you're doing. Okay. Number 6 says what type of trailers can get stuck on railroad highway crossings. Okay. They said there's several different vehicles like the low belly, possum belly, or those animal carriers or whatever. Anything with a low middle is the ones that are likely to get stuck on the deals there. Okay? Alright, next one is called the combination vehicle air brakes. Okay? You come this far, you probably already have gone over some air brakes, but when you start to look at the difference between straight truck and combination, you probably notice there's going to be a difference, so we're going to have to be ready to explain in the testings for this one as well. So let's see if we can figure this one out now. Combination vehicle air brakes says you should study section 5 air brakes before reading this in combination vehicles. It says what I just basically said. The vehicle system has parts to control the trailer brakes in addition to the parts described in section 5. These parts are described below. Okay, so this is in addition to what we've already learned in section 5, the air brake section. Okay, this is part 2 of the trailer hand valve. Trailer hand valve. Trailer hand valve, also called the trolley valve or Johnson bar, works the trailer brakes. The trailer hand valve should be used only to test the trailer brakes. Do not use it in driving because of the danger of making the trailer skid. The foot brake sends air to all the brakes on the vehicle, including the trailers. There is much less danger of causing a skid or jackknife when using just the foot brake. That's good. That's very normal driving then. Never use the hand valve for parking because all the air might leak out unlocking the brakes in trailers that don't have spring brakes. Always use the parking brakes when parking. If the trailer does not have spring brakes, use wheel chocks to keep the trailer from moving. Okay, part 2. That was part 1. That was the trailer hand valve. Second one is called the tractor protection valve. The tractor protection valve keeps air in the tractor or truck brake system should the trailer break away or develop a bad leak. Okay, the tractor protection valve is controlled by the trailer air supply control valve in the cab. The control valve allows you to open and shut the tractor protection valve. The tractor protection valve will close automatically if air pressure is low, in the range of 20 to 45 psi. When the tractor protection valve closes, it stops any air from going out of the tractor. It also lets the air out of the tractor emergency line. This causes the trailer emergency brakes to come on, with possible loss of control. Emergency brakes are covered later. Okay, that was the tractor protection valve part 2. Part 3 says trailer air supply control. Alright, which they just mentioned in the cab there. The trailer air supply control on newer vehicles is a red 8-sided knob which you use to control the tractor protection valve. You push it in to supply the trailer with air and pull it out to shut the air off and put on the trailer emergency brakes. The valve will pop out, thus closing the tractor protection valve when the air pressure drops into the range of 20 to 45 psi. Tractor protection valve controls or emergency valves on older vehicles may not operate automatically. There may be a lever rather than a knob. The normal position is used for pulling a trailer. The emergency position is used to shut off air and put on the trailer emergency brakes. Every combination vehicle has two air lines, the service line and the emergency line. They run between each vehicle, tractor to trailer, trailer to dolly, dolly to second trailer, etc. The service air line. Okay, we got two different airlines. We're going to look at the service airline, then the emergency airline. Okay, the service line, also called the control line or signal line, carries air which is controlled by the foot brake or the trailer hand brake. Depending on how hard you press the foot brake or hand valve, the pressure in the service line will similarly change. The service line is connected to relay valves. These valves allow the trailer brakes to be applied more quickly than would otherwise be possible. Now here's the emergency air line. The emergency line, also called the supply line, has two purposes. First, it supplies air to the trailer air tanks. Second, the emergency line controls the emergency brakes on combination vehicles. Loss of air pressure in the emergency line causes the trailer emergency brakes to come on. The pressure loss could be caused by a trailer breaking loose, thus tearing apart the emergency air hose. Or it could be caused by a hose, metal tubing, or other part breaking, letting the air out. When the emergency line loses pressure, it also causes the tractor protection valve to close. The air supply knob will pop out. Emergency lines are often coated with the color red hose, red couplers, or other parts to keep from getting them mixed up with the blue service line. Emergency is red, blue is service. Alright, cool. That was the trailer airlines. There's two of them, the service and the emergency. Alright. Hopefully they have no cracks like this picture is showing here. I'll put that up there too. Okay, part 5 is called hose couplers. Gladhands. That's the other name for them. Hose couplers, called Gladhands. Gladhands are coupling devices used to connect the service and emergency airlines from the truck or tractor to the trailer. The couplers have a rubber seal which prevents air from escaping. Clean the couplers and rubber seals before a connection is made. When connecting the Gladhands, press the two seals together with the couplers at a 90-degree angle to each other. A turn of the Gladhand attached to the hose will join and lock the couplers. When coupling, make sure to couple the proper Gladhands together to help avoid mistakes. Colors are sometimes used. Blue is used for the service lines and red is for the emergency supply lines. Sometimes metal tags are attached to the lines with cords, service, and emergency stamped on them. If you do cross the airline, supply air will be sent to the service line instead of going to charge the air tanks. Air will not be available to release the trailer spring brakes, parking brakes, if the spring brakes don't release when you push the trailer air supply control. Check the airline connections. Older trailers do not have spring brakes. If the air supply in the trailer air tank has leaked away, there will be no emergency brakes, and the trailer wheels will turn freely. If you cross the air lines, you could drive away, but you wouldn't have trailer brakes. This would be very dangerous. Always test the trailer brakes before driving with the hand valve or by pulling the air supply tractor protection valve control. Pull gently against them in a low gear to make sure the brakes work. Some vehicles have dead end or dummy couplers to which the hoses may be attached. When they are not in use, this will prevent water and dirt from getting into the coupler and the air lines. Use the dummy couplers when the air lines are not connected to a trailer. If there are no dummy couplers, the Gladhands can sometimes be locked together depending on the couplings. It is very important to keep the air supply clean. Okay, part 6 is called trailer air tanks. Each trailer and converter dolly has one or more air tanks. They are filled by emergency supply line from the tractor. They provide air pressure and the air pressure used to operate trailer brakes. Air pressure is sent from the air tanks to the brakes by relay valves. The pressure in the service line tells how much pressure the relay valves should send to the trailer brakes. The pressure in the service line is controlled by the brake pedal and the trailer handbrake. It is important that you don't let water and oil build up in the air tanks. If you do, the brakes may not work correctly. Each tank has a drain valve on it, and you should drain each tank every day. If your tanks have automatic drains, they will keep most moisture out, but you should still open the drains to make sure. Okay? 7 is called shut-off valves. Shut-off valves, also called cut-out cocks, are used in the service and service and supply airlines at the back of trailers used to tow other trailers. These valves permit closing the airlines off when another trailer is not being towed. You must check that all shut-off valves are in the open position except the ones at the back of the last trailer, which must be closed. Okay. And one more, number 8, called trailer, service, parking, and emergency brakes. Newer trailers have spring brakes just like trucks and truck tractors. However, converter dollies and trailers built before 1975 are not required to have spring brakes. Those that do not have spring brakes have emergency brakes, which work from the air stored in the trailer air tank. The emergency brakes come on whenever air pressure in the emergency line is lost. These trailers have no parking brake. The emergency brakes come on whenever the air supply knob is pulled out or the trailer is disconnected. A major leak in the emergency line will cause the tractor protection valve to close and the trailer emergency brakes to come on, but the brakes will hold only as long as there is air supply in the trailer air tank. Eventually, the air will leak away and then there will be no brakes. Therefore, it is very important for safety that you use wheel chocks when you park trailers without spring brakes. You may not notice a major leak in the service line until you try to put the brakes on. Then, the air loss from the leak will lower the air tank pressure quickly. If it goes low enough, the trailer emergency brakes will come on. Okay, here's the test coming up here. Part 2 test, okay? Number 1 says, why should you not use the trailer hand valve while driving? Well, it said that the foot brake was going to be sufficient because it puts air to all the brakes anyway. That's all I can think of on top of my head. We can look at that later a little further. Number 2 says, describe what the trailer air supply control does. Trailer air supply control does. Okay, we better take a look at that. The trailer air supply control on newer vehicles is a red 8-sided knob which you use to control the tractor protection valve. You push it in to supply the trailer with air and pull it out to shut the air off and put the trailer emergency brakes. The valve will pop out, thus closing the tractor protection valve. When the air pressure drops into the range of 20 to 45 psi, tractor protection valve controls or emergency valves on older vehicles may not operate automatically. There may be a lever rather than a knob. The normal position is used for pulling a trailer. The emergency position is used to shut the air off and put the trailer emergency brakes. Put on the brakes. Okay. Trailer air supply control. Is that what it said? Yep. So basically it supplies air to use to control the air pressure valve. You push it in to supply the trailer with air. The name of it pretty much answers the question there. It's just an 8-sided knob that supplies the trailer with air. 3. Describe what the service line is for. So this is, it says here, number 3, service line, and 4 is the emergency line. Okay, and we just looked at those two, but let's look at them again to make sure we're getting the right answer. It says every combination vehicle has 2 air lines, the service line and the emergency line. They run between each other, between the tractor and the trailer, and the tractor and the dolly, etc. Service line, also called the control line or signal line, carries air which is controlled by the foot brake or the trailer hand brake, depending on how you press on the foot. Okay, service brakes is basically like the service brakes we learned about in 5. That's your foot pedal. Okay, emergency line has 2 purposes. First, it supplies air to the trailer, air tanks. Second, the emergency line controls the emergency brakes. Okay, so when you look at service line, think about foot brakes. It's your service brakes like you do like your every just constant brakes. And number 4 is your emergency air line, which is your emergency brakes. Service is constant, and emergency is when you stop in and stuff like that. I mean, when you're actually parked and whatnot. 5 says, why should you use chocks when parking a trailer without spring brakes? To keep the trailer from moving. Some of the, depending on the year, depending on whether they have spring brakes or not. Then if they don't have spring brakes, then you're going to need to have chocks to keep it from moving. Spring brakes can hold it, or the chocks can hold it. 6 says, where are shut-off valves? Okay, shut-off valves are used in service and air supply lines at the back of the trailers used to tow other trailers. Okay, they're in the back. Alright, we'll get to the next section, part 3, called anti-lock brake systems, in just a moment.